Well, I hope this will be of value to you. This is something I picked up on Trainmaster TV. Actually, it was on What's Neat This Week. And it was a great technique. I haven't spent a lot of time with rooftops, but you know, it's hard for sometimes when we're out rail fanning to see the rooftops, but rooftops are very important. But if you're standing on bridges and stuff, you notice the different weathering on rooftops. And so I was watching the segment one night, and they had a gentleman on there who had a very easy technique to making it look really weathered. And I thought I'd share that with you tonight. It's very simple to do. It just takes a few things. I use pan pastels for simple weathering. What I did was I took this car, this is one out of the box. I went ahead and sprayed it with Del Coat to give it some tooth to bite. And so what I'll do, you can go back and paint the roofs a darker gray or weather the gray, because many of them come out with a real shiny, almost aluminum color. But I didn't do that. I'm going to dull it down with a little bit of pan pastels. And then what I'm going to use is I'm going to use two things. I'm going to use some acrylics and I'm going to use some oil paints. And I use, these are Winsor Newtons, and I don't know how they do it, but it's a water or oil mixable artist colors, okay? But I'm using it for the oil portion of it, and then I'm going to use acrylics. And so once I put the acrylics on here and blow dry the acrylics, the oil and the turpenoid will not react to the acrylic paint. So it creates a great effect, as you can see on some of these models. So it's very simple to do, something you can do. It's almost impossible to mess it up. What I would suggest you do is go out online, and you can go on and get pictures of what you're going to model. You know, sometimes when we think something looks like a certain way and we try to model it, it doesn't come out very well because our mind doesn't remember what it really looked like. We kind of mess it up. So get a picture of what you want to kind of go by that. You don't have to match it perfectly, but it'll give you a good guide to go with. And so go out and get some pictures. There's plenty of them out there, of rail tops. There's all kinds. But get something to kind of go by when you do the tops, and that'll kind of help you guide you through there. Also, something else I found on this one, it's this one. If you've got your decals on the side and or they're painted on, and you want to weather them a little bit, I bought these from Micromark. One's a fiberglass pencil, and one's a wire, and you can just kind of lightly go over the lettering and just wear the lettering off to make it look like it's worn, and don't go down through the blue. It's a very easy way to do that without have to remove the decal or anything. So that was a great technique that I picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one, and I'm going to take some pan pastels, and I'm going to kind of use a combination. Pan pastels, like any pastels, are good to build up in coats and layers to get the look. I don't have to put a lot on the top here because I'm going to come back and put the acrylics on here and then follow it with the oil and do a bleed on the oil to give it that rusty look. So I'm going to start out here and just put some pan pastels on here. And you just kind of grind it in there, because I'm going to come back and paint right over that, so it doesn't matter.
What color are you using, Steve?
This is a gray. This is called neutral gray shade. Ta-da. And what I'm going to do is just kind of put it on, and then I'm going to come back with a larger, wider brush and just kind of feather it on here so it looks on there. So I'm just going to come back and, if I miss some areas, I'll go back and pick them up. But you can kind of see the difference in it already. It's just a little bit darker, and I will come back here maybe with a little bit of. I'll use this. This will be a raw umber. And that's all I'm going to do to dull that down. if you're getting on the sides. The nice thing about pan pastel is you can come back with a t-shirt and just wipe it right off. Just wet it, it'll come right off there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to come up here and I want to highlight. I'm going to try to kind of look at this one. I won't make it exactly like that one, but what I'm going to do with this is cheap paints for craft shop. These are, what, a couple bucks a bottle.
Did I say Acme?
Yeah, acrylic. Yeah, this is Antas, A-N-A-N-I-T-H, Anita's acrylic crafts paint, and it doesn't matter. They all do the same job. Apple makes one.
They're flat or gloss?
They're flat, pretty much. And so then I'm going to take a small brush, and what I want to do is I don't want to paint it on. I'm going to stipple it on. So this one has on the end here that one panel. So I'm just going to come in here and stipple this on, and I'm going to put it on pretty thick. And just stipple it right in there. Just come back across, and like I say, there's no set way to do it. Just however it strikes you, just kind of go around and be random with it. And I won't do the whole one because we're sitting here, but just do a couple ribs in here to kind of show you how it does. Okay, then. So then I'm going to take my hair dryer and just dry. That's what's nice about acrylics. If you're using a heat gun, be careful. Even with this, it would probably warp it some. Okay, so I've kind of got my base color in there, and like I say, it's dried. So then I'm going to take some of my Winsor Newton. If I can get the top off. I'm just going to come back and go right over the top of the acrylics that I did, okay? And I'm going to stipple that right back on. You don't want to get it real globby, but you do want to get enough on there where and the magic is going to be when you put the turpenoid on it, okay? And this is nothing but mineral spirits. And what this does is the mineral spirits will cause that oil paint to run and give you that look, that rust look that you get. You know, with rust you have the real dark center part of the rust, the old rust, and then you've got the new rust is that what we call the rust color. But that's the effect that you get on there, and it's running out. And you can see on some of these, that's all it is to it. And you have to let these will have to set for probably 24 to 48 hours with the oils. So they'll have to set for you for a while. But what you get when you do it, if you stipple the acrylics on, they tend to peak up, and so when you put your oils on top of it, you have some texture there, so it actually looks like the metal is bubbling up, like you see really rusty stuff. So you can kind of play around with it. Go down to Roundhouse and buy some $5 box cars and just play with it and get the look you want. But take some photos. But it's that simple. You probably can do the whole top of this box car in probably 20 minutes and have it look really sharp. And then you can do the same thing on the sides. If you take the oils, if you come along the sides, you can actually put the acrylics on here, dry those, put you a spot of the oils on, and then streak it down with the terpenoids, and it looks like it's running straight down on the car. Very simple way to do rust streaks and stuff on the sides of cars.
You do it more over the ribs than on the flat part?
Well, wherever you want. I mean, like if it's wherever it gets hit on the side. It may be coming from the top up around the rail. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of, again, look at some prototype cars. I mean, some of you were talking about earlier, these rail box cars, they're beat to death, a lot of them on the road. They're out there all the time, and so they've got dents in the side and scrapes where they run across stuff and hit stuff. So, and don't do them all. Leave some, because all the cars aren't old. When you're using pan pastels on weathering, when you spray it down with dull coat, it tends to take some of it away, so you have to do multiple layers to get it to build up, but eventually you can get it to build up on the sides. The wheels are basically, all I'm doing there is I'm taking them, I bought these wheel protectors and stuff to paint the wheels and stuff, and I take them off there, and I've got a micro brush, and I just dip it in rust and just I hold them, and I take a set off. I do 3 cars at a time, do a set off, and I paint them. By the time I get done with the 3rd car, I put the first wheel set back on. It takes you no time at all to do the wheel sets. And what I find is as soon as I buy something new, I take the wheels off, paint them. I go ahead and put new couplers on them because I have KDs I run on everything, and get them all set. And if I'm not going to put them on the layout right away, I'll put them back in the box, and I know that they're ready to go. But I'll paint the wheels, and I'll come in, I'll dull coat them all, and just, if nothing else, I hate looking at the black wheels because they're so shiny. I'll dull coat them and throw some pan pastels on them to dull them down, and I'll take some rust pan pastel and go into the springs on the side just to give it that look, and it really holds it pretty good. It stays there pretty good. Hopefully that was helpful. It was something I went, oh my goodness, this is really great.